A much different series outlook, though, right? We're seeing King's Row yet again, but then like New Queen Street in Surabasa, we've just seen Runasabi today, and then we get a Junkertown to round things off. So much different look in this series, at least thus far from the early outset.
Absolutely. When these two teams played each other through the actual group stages of the EMEA Master League, it was a dominant Spaecstation victory. But again, like those matches extended into sort of early August, so some time has passed since then. Well, it's a good like 6 weeks or so since they last faced each other.
That's an eternity.
In this game, honestly, yes, especially with like, you know, the way the patch cycle is. I will say there hasn't been like a huge major patch sort of since then, I don't think. Like that August patch was obviously pretty impactful, but now these teams have had a long time to settle in. Most of the hero changes have been pretty marginal.
Juno being allowed, right? is a huge difference in itself.
Yes. And Spaecstation still want to go with this diva composition here, so this will be a different look, something that they obviously were working on a lot in that previous meta. Still want to play with the Juno.
Yeah, and I think the Juno is like an awesome hero for Funny Astro to kind of like pivot to as well, right? Where typically we've seen Astro be mostly like Lucio break. Now they have an opportunity here to flex him onto the Juno and let Landon play some breach.
And definitely known as like a very damage-oriented sort of main support player is Funny Astro. So see how that really translates onto the Juno, which is not really where it bread's butter necessarily, but you know, you can do a little bit of that with your torpedoes. Here we go though, Virtus.pro pushing up. Sauna on that far again, quite the nuisance here. With the old McDonald's Dragon skin, I respect that greatly. Hardy's able to find Canal though, so the backline here of Virtus.pro, lacking mobility in the Ana regard, has to watch out, and I'm sure Hardy's done that about 1 billion times, run down an airborne Pharah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it also, with this backline for Spaecstation, gives them the opportunity, like if they want to play like Ana, right? Like Landon can definitely flex over to play that as well, where we'll see now VP attacking yet again here, coming from this high ground. So you do have Sauna set up on the Ash there, just trying to get him into a position to make a play, but the sight lines here for Spark are not terrible as well.
Hardy gonna be knocked out of mech here. Gonna be a little bit annoying. Spaecstation still trying to get plenty of damage in behind this though. Mostly it's just poke. Sauna's able to take down Funny Astro, and now there's no pressure on the backline for Virtus.pro. Even though Canal switched over towards the Brig here for that extra self-sufficiency. Virtus.pro put it together in this fight.
Yeah, and what do you make with the Spaecstation coming out and playing this Diva right away? Right, I think it probably tells you that they definitely feel like Diva is probably the strongest of the options in terms of tank. Feel like you may be trying to force this a little bit there, and then maybe you can make some changes after.
Yeah, Hardy still wants to stick to her with a ultimate available. Maybe they switch off, but honestly, it's been something they've worked on for quite some time. They do like to stick to their guns, this Spaecstation team. We have every support ultimate under the sun being leveraged here. Spaecstation have an immense amount of healing, and the rally for Canale is sadly just a little bit too late to make a big difference in this team fight. They'll sit behind there, make use of the shield bash stun to stave Backbone off for a time. Spaecstation eventually can move in to flip the point.
Yeah, it'll take a little bit of slower to actually make it their way to the point and get over towards it. Rajaro will be knocked off the side there. They'll get some kill credit for that, and that'll be Spaecstation getting in control yet again, coming out on top. And look at this, Hadi looking for more, pushes on in, but it's going to be both supports there for VP. You're going to make it out with their life, but Hadi in a lot of trouble. That's a nice May wall there from Cloud. Yeah,
has a self-destruct, so the remake potential's there, especially without the May wall available to Cloud. That would have been a bit scary. They would have just had to walk away. Still goes up, gets a bunch of info, slows up Virtus.pro, puts Spaecstation up to 71% now. And a wall thrown up by Backbone just as Cloud tried to isolate him with one of his own. Here they come, Bob available for Sauna here. That's going to go straight to the back corner of the point. Hardy gets in his face instantly though, doesn't want to give them the room, and Backbone comes forward with a blizzard that catches onto Canale, who's won. Backbone finishes the job. Beautifully done. His May play on these control maps has been such a boon to Spaecstation. But the annihilation from Rajaro will wrinkle the brow for Spaecstation and their fans. This Virtus.pro not in a position necessary to flip back. Bob contested the point very nicely there, coming out later for Sparker in the fight than it did for Sauna, who's now switched over to the Tracer to try and get back to the action quickly. That's a blizzard that will be respected by the dispersion of players, but won't stop Spaecstation from staying on the point here. And there's not really much more to do for VP. There come the Pulsar torpedoes. Healing is good for Funny Astro, and this will be Spaecstation locking up the first round.
Yeah, and there's a nice May wall there from Backbone as well. When the Bob, it was really kind of like towards the end of the Bob's life cycle, but the May wall there just did not allow the players on VP to exit. They got stuck like right in between where that Bob was, and they ended up taking a little bit of extra damage there from that Bob. So nice play there from Backbone, who, like you mentioned, I mean, he is such a weapon being deployed into this roster to play, really kind of like the odd and end heroes at times.
Astro tripping, no offense. Okay. Not sure what that's about. Spaecstation here are very good at, when they take control of the point on this map, they make it hard for their opponents to come back in via the bridge. It's really difficult. And we see Backbone also get a lot of kills long range against like Ashes, who tend to play a little bit further back on their line. So keep an eye out for that. He's awful accurate with the right clicks.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Is Spaecstation gets here pretty fast, right? That TP gets them up here towards this bridge. I mean, look at it. They're already walking down VP from really trying to cross this area, as that'll be the Juno ring giving a little bit of extra speed, allowing VP to close the gap.
Okay, Rajaro feels like he can come forward here, but Virtus.pro might have got themselves into a bit of a compromising situation. Yep, Ice Block already comes out from Cloud. Wall to try and keep him in there, and Canale gets finished off by Landon. Spaecstation are very well equipped to brawl things out, even on this D.Va composition, and they've shown their mastery here.
They just take the space so fast, right? I mean, the way that Spaecstation, I mean, VP can't even make it over their bridge before Spaecstation's like in their face, ready to fight. And like you mentioned, I mean, a close quarter brawl inside of like a small room. I mean, that's exactly the type of game that Spaecstation Gaming wants.
And Virtus.pro pushed into them inside their dojo. Like, they really tried to take a fight against them, but it's so easy to catch out individuals from VP. They just walled off the May, caught the Brig out. Nice torpedoes there from Gala, hoping to assist here in this first thrust of damage, but Landon has a rally. And the Blizzard is going to, again, just create so much room for Spaecstation to work in. Gala found himself out of position in the end, and a May wall will, I guess, it'll orchestrate a catch here on Cloud. Big stagger. Quick flip back on the point, though, elsewhere. It looks like Sauna managed to do that, but it won't be for long.
Yeah, Sauna ends up getting the flip as he's on Tracer, I think, just trying to put a little bit more pressure on the Sparker, trying to get Spaecstation to like pull back a little bit, like play a little bit more defensive. Like, they're like, look at the position the Hottie's in. I mean, he's just not a care in the world, right? I mean, he's up there just putting down, damage, taking all this space up, as you have to put some pressure on the Sparker, right? If Hottie's gonna play that close, it's gonna allow the Ash to do so much damage at range.
I gotta disengage here. Oh, not quite quick enough on the orbital ray there for Funny Astro. Landon gets brought down. Rajaro knows he can charge up there, get aggressive with the healing and extra damage of that ability. And Backbone's forced to ice block and probably just fold off this fight entirely. Pulse is going to draw him forward, which makes him easy prey for VP.
Yeah, so that's a huge pick off onto Landon, right? Even with that orbital ray coming on in, not able to keep that Brig up. Rajaro just flies on in, kind of sideswipes him, takes him out. And it feels like that's a fight that was like, you needed to win if you were VP. I mean, you lose it there, you're probably up to like 80%, you got nothing to really work with, you're in a lot of trouble.
Now on the bridge, okay, Spaecstation forced to fire at that. Defense Matrix just a second too late there from Hardy.
Yeah, I was surprised it wasn't eaten, to be honest.
Yeah, it looked pretty close. Self-destruct here for Rajaro, wants to keep the tempo up, so wants to make sure that mech is maintained. And now Virtus.pro getting close to 40%. Spaecstation have struggled to have a look in at all and even generate ultimates in the last almost 30 seconds to a minute.
Yeah, now Spaecstation kind of getting caught on their own bridge here as well, as it looks like that VP wants to go, now actually decides to just back out, through their ring, as Backbone trying to catch one off and then drop this Blizzard.
Yeah, Maywall doesn't really help though. Virtus.pro happy to step back from that. They probably track the Blizzard here, so they're going to keep a respectful distance away from Backbone himself. Hyper Ring deployed, Virtus.pro get a burst of speed, and yet another orbital ray coming through. Funny Astro again, still a little bit slower on that one. Probably wants to pop it ASAP, and he does, but it's a little far forward. Still, Hardy steps up into it. Gonna be able to take advantage of that one way or another, and Funny Astro gets his damage dealing boots on. Hasty torpedo deployment there to keep Backbone standing. They may have lost Landon here, but the advantage definitely rests with SSG. Although from that distance, Funny Astro can't really keep Sparker up here. This could be a little bit of an issue. Still no flip either from Spaecstation. They're looking to clean up the fight now.
Yeah, and I don't know if you saw, like, they were trying to get the kill onto Rajaro, and then as soon as Gala's beam started to come over towards Rajaro, everybody on Spaecstation just dipped. They knew that that kill was not going to happen and not worth taking that extra damage and trying to fight for. Is in the end, though, Funny Astro, right, using his own beam, providing some no extra damage to himself, right on with him, right, as he kind of flies through, takes out 2, and that's going to be Spaecstation now in control of the point. Just one fight though for VP. You flip it, you send it to a final point here on Li Jiang. The Bob here could be, I'm curious. Yeah, I mean, a big dynamite. You could even send the Bob with a bridge if you wanted here. I mean, a lot of options here for Spaecstation.
There's the wall, but very quickly VP look to break through it. Bob put in a neutral position to punish anybody lingering on the bridge here. He'll find the enemy Bob for a time. Rally for Landon. Canale didn't have one available, so he will fall. Blizzard for Cloud only catches a May, which is an ice block instantly, and Hardy just shrugs it off, really. Just a bit of defrosting required on the front windshield, apparently. It looks like Spaecstation have what it takes to clean up the map.
Yeah, and I think any meta that you can have Backbone play May and play it pretty much the entire time, you're going to see Spaecstation have pretty good success. Like right there, being able to put down some really sick May walls defensively, and then also, on the offensive side of things, being able to kind of split players off and then end up getting good value out of the Blizzard. One of, if not his like best hero, right? So seeing them be able to kind of play that and play around that, that's a great sign if you're an SSG fan.
And we're watching an SSG that did not want to play the Ramatra rush style at all, if they could help it. They had 2 maps where they could quite easily get away with the D.Va, and they did so. So Hardy really doubling down on his belief in D.Va, even in a metagame that's changed slightly. And this composition much more closely resembles what we saw initially for the first Juno match in pro play out of that APAC region, where both teams wanted Juno in those D.Va composition shells. Let's look back here. Go over towards Night Market first. Pretty hefty first fight here, but Backbone and those ice spikes is something you can always sort of count on here. Blizzard as well coming forward to catch out. And even that was before Rajaro, of course, had the ability to even eat them up, so he didn't have to worry nearly as much about having them negated. Could play hyper aggressive.
No, not at all. I mean, you saw just fantastic May play, like I was talking about. Look at, the May walls being used here on the defensive side of things. And VP started to mount a little bit of a comeback. So you started to see them get control of this SSG bridge. SSG got control of the VP side really early on. That's how they got a big lead.
I see Funny Astro here as well, that orbital ray thrown forward, but immediately, seeing this, SSG jump into it, look to try and get value out of it. Hardy's more than happy to bask in those rays and get topped up and also hit that much harder, which means that dive potential for the D.Va is maximized in that moment. She's already scary enough threat in terms of her upfront burst damage that she has available to her, so this only lends to her efficacy. Both our teams making good use of Juno here, just as basically everybody we've seen on stream today has. Only briefly, I think some teams have tried like the Lucio Ana at times, but this definitely seems the way to go.
No wonder why they all voted for it here at EMEA. They would have been like, well, what the hell do we play otherwise, right? But I imagine if you're practicing for like, stage 4 of the OWCS and like Swifts and everything that'll come after that, right? You're looking at like playing a lot of heavy Juno comps, right? I know, especially with the way things are going. I believe they announced like for a mid-season patch, they're nerfing D.Va, nerfing Sombra. So the tank might change in terms of who you're playing around it with. But we've seen good success with Ramatra, right? So you figure if they nerf D.Va, probably Ramatra next in line.
Yeah, and also, like we mentioned, we saw a little bit of Orisa in the previous series. She was, I think it was noted by just the devs that she was just a little bit lower on the win rate in general. Wanted to give her a little bit of a boost. So we've seen her come back. It's marginal.
You're trying to push Orisa play on people. What's your deal here?
I mean, it's kind of fun, I guess. I'm trying to think back. There was like a very heavy Orisa meta, I think, for a time, like earlier on in the year. I don't know if that I'm not really sure if that butted my red, so to speak. But
yeah, was that fun?
I like it being thrown here. Listen, I tend to prefer avoiding, as a caster, I don't like mirrors just because it's fun to discuss the differences in comps and how they interact.
Yeah.
And pros are very, very good at iterating on a concept and then basically coming to the same conclusion. And I want to remind everybody that GOATS was a thing for like 3 out of 4 Overwatch League stages. So nice to see, teams try and like a counter a comp. I think that's the best part about it.
Stages or years.
It was a long time. It was such. I remember like the end of 2019. Everyone was like, "What was the end of 2018?" Everyone was like, "Oh, watch out, this comp's coming!" And boy, it hit us hard. We saw it contenders first, and then a whole year of play. I'm saying, I should have asked for hazard pay for that year. Like again, same comp over and over again. We really worked hard to try and get creative and making that interesting. So I like non-mirrored comps. That's all I'm saying. I like to see those points of difference. Here's Kings Row being picked by Virtus.pro.
Yeah, so Kings Row, you can definitely play some of that Ramatra-based stuff. I also think the Diva as well, which maybe you pick this if you're VP. You're like, oh, you know what? They don't want to play like any Diva type of stuff. But we saw Hottie come out and actually look pretty good on the Diva here to kick things off. So see now probably a little bit of a wrinkle here kind of thrown in VP's potential plan.
And I mean, it's not as if like the VP can't play that. Rajaro, very, very solid Diva. Like generally showed us some great stuff in the last stage of the OWCS, but you know, maybe a little less comfortable. It is a comp that requires a heck of a lot of coordination. I mean, that's always been like the deterrent for playing like dive or any sort of proactive type compositions, because you can get punished and you have to be the ones that sort of throw it all out there, take a risk on trying to start an engagement, and it can be challenging. The same reason why like Winston-based dive defenses are also a scary prospect, because unless you have it nailed down perfectly, you can expose yourself to getting punished.
Yeah, absolutely. And it'll be VP on defense here to kick things off. They will play a Diva-based composition, so I think that's exactly kind of what VP probably came into the series and thought like, hey, this is like what we can actually force onto SSG, and we think we have like a pretty large advantage, right? I know Hottie definitely not known as a Diva player, right? But it seems to be picking it up quite well at the moment.
I think Spaecstation are thinking about teams like EMS, right, who just have the perfect sort of plug and play for this option in for Solar, and probably realize that they still think that this is the best comp. Diva is just so flexible and so modal in terms of how she, can gravitate between offense and defense here. And if you're incredible at her, you are really hard to stop. Sparker here with a brief Widow stint before switching over towards the Ashe here. The comps look pretty similar. Backbone actually stays in here for Spaecstation.
Yeah, with him in, it's going to be May, right? You can play the Pharah as well. You can even play like potentially Echo, but I mean, Backbone's so good on the May that if they want to kind of mirror and play this May kind of composition, you're totally fine to do this if your SSG is Backbone trying to take some position here. This Dynamite's going to pop here in a second as they really wanted that kill on a Gala. Just not able to connect.
Okay, Cloud just finds a right click on Backbone there. He just extends a little bit too deep there, was looking for a hard flank, and this is going to mean the Spaecstation attack is going to break upon Virtus.pro's defense so far.
Yeah, they wanted that kill onto Gala, and when that doesn't come, I mean, if you would have got the kill on the Gala, maybe it's a little bit different, right? But you don't end up with that kill there. You turn the corner, Canale and Cloud are right there. You're in like a world of trouble if you're Backbone, and then I know Hottie, not a great spot either. So first fight win goes in favor of VP. We'll see if they can still hold.
Sauna taking a bunch of poke damage there. Gala hovering close by, and a Dynamite connection here. Heal pressure being applied to Virtus.pro. Just started attacks the bandwidth of the defenders ever so slightly. Sparker wants to reposition now as the Orbital Ray signals the extraction protocol for Spaecstation Gaming. They do not want to be here. Maywall, though, is going to make it awful hard to get away, and this exfiltration effort, rather, goes by the wayside.
As another big fight win here for Virtus.pro as the beams used on both sides of things. Just a much better value, and then the stagger here onto Hottie is going to be quite brutal. Not many options to reset here on Kings Row. It's, man, VP look like a different team here on Kings Row, just holding down this choke.
Virtus.pro looking solid. Spaecstation had to kind of wait out a couple of those key abilities, but they had an orbit array of their own in that previous fight. It's hard to see how it was able to have much impact. Funny Astra still adjusting, perhaps. Good pressure on Rajaro.
Quite impactful.
Oh, Backbone has that Blizzard eaten up by Rajaro. That is bad. Yeah, it could have been big. Could have been a difference maker here, but Spaecstation right now are floundering.
Yeah, that's like a big of a caster curse as you could get. Like, look out for this Blizzard. Literally a second later, it's thrown into a defense matrix as Backbone here on the Widow, just trying to maybe see if he can get Rajaro weak, see if he can finish off his mech.
Oh, Hottie,
not able to do so. His Hottie can't get back in his mech.
Went for the remake.
Man, this one's been tough for Spaecstation. I mean, with how map 1 was, didn't expect to be this kind of one-sided here on Kings Row.
Still a minute to play with for Spaecstation. I wouldn't say they've got the biggest of ultimates to play with, though, especially against the Orbital Ray. This is looking pretty dire for our 10-2 team. Here it comes, all array for Virtus.pro. And Spaecstation want none of it. Maywall attempts to catch them again. I mean, a long, drawn-out stagger here would be huge, but Virtus.pro can sort of see that it would be a little risky. They have a Blizzard. I want to cast a curse it. However, could be a big play here. Here comes Bob, trundling up onto the point. Backbone going to be forced into an ice block here awful early, but the rest of Virtus.pro having to wrap around as Cloud is felled by the Bob eventually. At least a remake available for Rajaro, but they're down a player. Nice Bob there from Sparker in the end. To the high ground goes Hardy. Really wants to rattle the cage a little bit here. Virtus.pro lacking that May for control, and Rajaro is no one to bail them out of here. Funny Astro with some damage. I think Gala is flanking to try and kill Funny Astro. It's unclear at this point. Looks like Virtus.pro might have given up a little bit on this particular fight. Good catch on Funny by Sauna. I think that's probably all they're going to have here. Spaecstation should be on the road with the card.
It is contested here at the moment, so the rally being popped here as well by VPs. They really feel like they can win this.
I don't feel that's the case, though. Canale and Rally very low. That shield just cannot hold up. And even with that powerful durability ultimate in play, Virtus.pro must seed A.
Yeah, I'm shocked they end up using the rally. I mean, maybe there had to have been another player there at the time, because it was just Son and Canale that we were able to see, but there was somebody contesting it. I wonder if it was like Cloud or Rajaro, and maybe you felt like if you, let's say it's like Cloud and he's in ice block and you get around the corner, you still have rally going, maybe you can keep him up, like maybe it's doable, right? But that one feels like you just kind of threw the rally away, so to speak, right? Now you're allowing Spaecstation to make up some of the time that they lost on this checkpoint A right here, right? Because they have double support ult to get the Blizzard, right? You come in, win this fight fast. It doesn't even matter that, point A went the distance.
Absolutely. Can make up a lot of time here, can Spaecstation. Here comes the Bob though from Sauna. It gets a little bit awkward. There's a lot of particle effects to deal with here, and ultimately he backs up with the coach gun. But Funny Astro is taken down. I guess he couldn't find a hidey hole as Bob had locked onto him. Rally was also used there by Landon, still not able to save Funny Astro. To Spaecstation, where they were really looking to go up a gear and build up some momentum, gain some ground, have to give it up again.
Yeah, that's a bit surprising, right? Losing, the Bob was pretty impactful there from Sauna, but the rally was going there for Spaecstation. It feels like that is one that was, that's one where VP, you battle right back into this game now, right? Like, Spaecstation looked like maybe they were going to take a little bit of control here, after a really slow start, but get double support, you use it there, you're in a great spot. Now, everything being thrown out. Both beams here at the same time. It'll be a Blizzard here for Backbone as well.
The Blizzard is big. It catches out Rajaro. That's an easy DMAC as the orbital beam had long since passed them by. Clean up the Spaecstation after losing the prior fight. Sees Virtus.pro come back at least with a Blizzard of their own here, but Spaecstation will be knocking at the door. This is a very, very important fight coming up.
Yeah, it feels like VP has a little bit of an advantage though, right? Having their Blizzard for this next fight, plus also the rally. Rajaro and Hotney both have remix available via the self-destruct, so those are sitting at even, but it feels like with that Blizzard rally, that's a good combo if you want to fight this if you're VP.
Sparker may want to throw an aggressive Bob here in an annoying place. Rajaro dives in. Here comes that Bob. Rally going to be used here by Canale pretty much instantly, and Canale spending most of the time just stalling the cart. The healing needs to be there though. Bob is a pain to deal with. The Cloud holds the Blizzard here. The threat of Bob is now gone. Remake here for Rajaro. Hardy hasn't had to use his yet. And Cloud is locked in a deadly duel with Backbone, who goes down to a one-shot. Backs away through the speed boost. Now we're in overtime. Deep Blizzard. Very deep Blizzard for Cloud. It does open some space and actually sections up Spaecstation so that they can't join Hardy. But somehow we still able to get the remake. Be careful of that damage coming in. That was close. Funny Astro though gets taken down, and Hardy back in the mech with a vengeance though rips Cloud a new one, and somehow Spaecstation are still at it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, once Hardy gets right back in mech, you take a look at some of the health bars at the top of the screen. Everybody on VP just extremely low. You still had Funny Astro and Landon alive there for Spaecstation, and somehow they come out on top as Son over the Widow, probably just trying to take a shot here, then back up potentially, or are we gonna see the Widow here come out at the end? So Widow, pretty good on this part of the map, obviously historically, but going up against a Diva comp could be quite difficult, right? Like, I know these sight lines start to get pretty good for Ashe.
Okay, well, there goes the beam from Gala. Man, okay, not great.
There's a beam from Funny Astro.
Yeah, it looked a whole lot better as well. Rajaro getting DMAC basically called a hard reset on that fight for Virtus.pro. Here they come. Gonna be Lucio for Canale just to try and get the touch. Cloud also comes back on the venture. Backbone with the Blizzard available, lets it go and then straight into Ice Blocker. Rajaro looking a little frosty. Looking like the way you cool down your whiskey. I don't think there's too much that the Wrecking Ball can do. No, okay, Spaecstation able to finish the map.
Oh, man. With time.
With time. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, that's... With how that was looking, that is impressive for Spaecstation, where VP, it looked like they were potentially going to just hold them on first point, right? I mean, for ages, they were just spawn camping them constantly. Hottie was having a difficult time even just getting back to the spawn to reset his mech. I mean, it was all Virtus.pro. And then even once they got the checkpoint, right, did Spaecstation... It felt like VP still had a little bit of control, right? That first fight after, VP ends up winning it with just the Bob really kind of used. And then a Spaecstation able to win like 2 fights in a row and battle back. I don't love the Widow swap at the end. I mean, that was didn't really end up paying off, but man, Spaecstation ends up coming up clutch.
And they've got to be feeling a sigh of relief after how horribly the game started for them. Constantly getting forced back on that attack side. Virtus.pro, and they should definitely take solace in just how much they were able to burn the clock down despite that sort of late round capitulation that we maybe won't linger on too much. Now, if they're quick out of the gates here, they can still threaten Spaecstation. Let's see how they're keeping their spirits high. Let's go to a Virtus.pro listen in.
Hi.
Yeah, Steve, I don't know if you want to play for. Everyone. So,
Can you come? Can you go to map? Okay, that's first game.
Discord is like, he's gonna fuck. I don't know what to...
I'm going left, I'm going bottom left.
A pause. In this economy? I'm not so sure about that. I don't know about that, guys. Sorry. Sure if the admins are. Okay, here we go. We'll get a pause here.
So we'll get right back into game. As already it's actually 2 players down for Spaecstation.
Yeah, Virtus.pro did pretty well considering they're the ones that were having the tech issues there, presumably. Landon gets cleaned up. Canale doesn't fall to backbone, but can he stall for much time? There's unlikely to be much of a health pack in there. No, that's taken away. So here we go. Virtus.pro are going to have a very quick hit on this point A. Very different to Spaecstation start to the game.
So we'll see though, can Spaecstation get back in and contest? It looks like trying to move up here with Sparker and co.
I need some picks here from Sparker. Hard to find those.
A nice damage with the dynamite.
Mostly covered over though.
Enough.
Need to pressure Sauna away, but he's been a little slippery. Goes low. Juno also pretty exposed up there. Sparker's hitting some good shots. Now the numbers are here for Spaecstation, but that Blizzard was not stopped. Still, a bit of stall here with that ice block on the point. How long can Backbone survive? That wall is a problem here. If they get off the point for too long, it could be curtains. No supports left. It will be either way. Spaecstation, and their second attempt to defend here will crumble.
Yeah, it's like, oh, maybe you got the Hottie self-destruct here. You can keep it going a little bit, but does not end up working out as VP basically one fight and then takes that first checkpoint as now they'll move up. Did end up using some ultimates in the end, specifically that Blizzard there, used by Cloud, but no, you'll have it back pretty quick with the way these fights go. Pretty impactful in them. So Spaecstation has an opportunity here though to chain a few together, right? You have all 5 ultimates, right? Can you get a fight win on this first corner, right? Push that bot, back to the choke there. Then get control of that choke. They'll actually use a rally here to maybe try and catch them off guard, push around the corner.
Yeah, Landon tried to catch a shield bash stun there, but I think they're going to be forced back here. Orbit Array, though, stand amongst this. Blizzard? Well, no, I don't think so. Backbone. Rajaro eats that one for breakfast. I mean, a remake here for Hardy, ideally. Backbone losing that Blizzard hurts, but the ice block's going to keep them going for a bit. Sparker buys a little bit of time with the Bob here. Both of them actually getting brought down. So now we've burned through all of our ultimates. It's time for the real fight to begin. This brings back memories, Matt. Rajaro at least can get a remake, both catching Landon out here, and Virtus.pro really starting to build up ahead of steam here. Going up a gear, fighting through the second phase of the map. Hardy demeched yet again. Sparker brought down, and VP come out looking squeaky clean.
Yes, both teams just basically throw all their ultimates out there. Nobody dies during all of it, right? And then after that, now we'll see who's slightly weaker and then who ends up kind of coming out on top. Where really for Spaecstation, absolutely everything kind of dumped in there. VP, because they had used a Blizzard in the previous fight, they actually hold on to it here. Potentially a fight before the payload gets that second checkpoint. So looks like Spaecstation wants to move up, take space. They can't afford to kind of give this up right away, right? It would be a large time bank there for Virtus.pro.
Hardy's found his way into the back line here to be a bit of a nuisance from that high ground briefly. Backbone's close to another Blizzard if he can build him. A Cloud already has that on deck. Have to be careful. A Backbone doesn't mind. He can obviously ice block through most of that and be unaffected.
VP backs up because they want to build up both support ultimates here. They back up for a split second. They want to build up both support ults. They throw in the Blizzard. They would have had the beam and the rally, but they lose Sauna.
All right, Orbital Ray, though, pretty good to keep Rojaro standing, even though they were frozen. But it was Backbone and Hardy able to take down the players who weren't benefiting from that healing and damage boost. So a big defensive stop here for Spaecstation just before the second checkpoint.
Yes, I mean, that feels like a little bit of a missed opportunity there for Virtus.pro, right? They end up using their Blizzard after they back out. They back out, they want to build up both support ultimates, right, to potentially have. They use the Blizzard. They end up using the beam from Judo, but they lose Sauna, who's a lot of that damage up there on the high ground. Is now Rojaro will end up playing the Ramatra here, so no real high ground to kind of contest. Where, like, you know, the first point, you need the high ground to get up there, and he'll play for that. No high ground here. You can actually just kind of play that Ramatra and brawl out.
I don't know if that's going to be the call, though. Definitely more susceptible to those May walls, Matt. You can't just fly away from it. Here they go. They're coming forward. Going to be Orbital Ray used by Funny Astro. Again, the support ultimates get layered up together. Spaecstation try and play around that as much as they can, but don't find any kills. From the high ground comes Bob. Bam! Knocks up Gala instantly. He's happy to take to the skies, I think, and avoid Bob's scrutiny. And eventually, Sauna's Bob gets brought down. That one came out first. A lot of space created here for Spaecstation. And the support ultimates are gone, but Virtus.pro don't have a whole lot to hang their hat on either. Now down to 1 minute and 10 seconds. Time to push up again with the Ramatra.
So, I mean, this is so getting dangerous for Virtus.pro, right? A minute on the clock here, but they do get landed. I mean, that could be huge as Hardy's trying to knock this self-destruct off the side. Does not have enough force to do that, as now Rojaro just trying to find this kill onto the Diva, and that'll be that second checkpoint.
Okay, time extension as well. Map completion well and truly at their fingertips. And now we're getting back online with support ultimates. Gala has one, ready to roll with. And it's that also Blizzard disparity that could be big to get Virtus.pro across the line. Spaecstation definitely have to give that a respectful distance, but Spark has been able to take a shot from God knows where. From right back towards spawn, has been able to clean Sorter up. Big opening now, and Virtus.pro have to pull out.
And that's huge, right? I mean, this is just going to buy some more time off the clock, but it's also going to allow Spaecstation to get this pole position around the corner. It'll allow Sparker to fall back, take control of that high ground, where now the high ground, right? If you're on offense, you have the Diva, you can access that high ground, really just deny that space from an Ashe, but with the Ramatra, can't exactly do that.
Where's the isolation going? I think Ramatra's just like crashed into the back line of Spaecstation and was even able to find a kill, and probably is going to get away with it too. This is Virtus.pro now winning a huge fight to get them in a time bank advantage with the end of the map rapidly approaching. Spaecstation have one more chance to fight forward with their Juno ultimate.
I mean, they're also going to have their Bob as well, right? It was actually VP who ends up throwing a lot into that previous fight to get that fight win, to get the cart around the corner here, going towards the end. But Hardy just jumps up right away, takes control of that high ground. His Backbone takes a shot there quite low, as you can get Bob here in a good spot here. Is oh wow, look at Sauna. I mean, Solo just goes right in.
Yeah, rally be damned. Canal wasn't able to keep Sauna alive. This is massive for Spaecstation. After a little bit of an organ attack side, the pick from Sparker opens them right up. Now they're going to back up yet again. Another big dynamite hit for Sparker. He's been consistent with those, and low as he is, he's done his job. He's done his work. And Virtus.pro have one more chance here to finish the map.
Yeah, Spaecstation, they decide to push up a little bit here. I think if you're Spaecstation, you may be able to catch them off guard, right? Push up, take a fight aggressive with this rally, and look at this. They're exactly playing around it. Landon's got that shield. He's going to be able to, like, three-peek that corner. As soon as these players start to come, he can pump that rally. Yeah, I got a stun off. Oh, nice play, though. Rojaro actually dodges it.
Okay, he's able to avoid it. That is good, but Virtus.pro do get split away. Rojaro on the cart, trying to push it over, trying to secure some overtime here. Finding a 1v2, v3. It's risky, but Cloud, in the meantime, is able to pick Lennon off. This now gets scary for Spaecstation. Sauna has the Bob available. Ice Block used briefly in a Blizzard to try and stall it even further. Backbone does get the freezes off, but affected by it himself. This is messy. Bob goes pretty low now, and it's going to be ugly stuff indeed. The Kunai coming out in the hands of Landon. He throws down that Suzu as well to try and give a bit of invulnerability. Virtus.pro, though, should be able to finish the map here. Let's see what the push-up will be. Spark is able to switch to the Widowmaker. I've seen this before, but no headshot after headshot this time around. Spark not able to connect, and the cart gets over the line.
No, and the biggest thing was Hottie not able to get a remake in basically like when the Blizzard comes down before, not able to get a remake. If you would have been able to get back in mech, maybe would have been able to kind of win that there, but I believe the Bob at the time, the self-destruct almost kills the Bob, but there towards the end, just desperation, right? You get the, Kriko kind of TPing through the wall, you get, the Widow swap there towards the end, but miraculously somehow Spaecstation ends up finishing with more time, right? Where their offense was, pretty poor at the start, getting spawn camped by VP. They're actually the one who ends up with a better time bank.
Which means they get to defend first as well. Again, their defense was broken pretty instantly. It was an awkward little situation where I think VP may have some comms issues. So they have a chance at least to try and run that back and redeem themselves. No changes to comps here, unsurprisingly.
No.
I mean, not going to risk coming out of the Ramatra here, not up against this high ground setup.
I don't think you would see a comp switch till like the end, or maybe like the second phase, right? Where you can maybe play that Ramatra like we just saw VP do. I think the first and the third part, because of the verticality, you absolutely need the D.Va in the play. And then look, Sauna played the Widow for a lot of the third point. I think that kind of like allowed Spaecstation to just take so much space where, if you're not finding the shots in the Widow, you're really not providing much. Takes a shot there right off the rip. But I think you have to play the Ashe. I think Ashe is too good.
So far, we've seen just how impactful it can be. Sparker probably credited with Virtus.pro running out of time there towards the end of Kings Row. Still a map completion for them, though. Okay, Spaecstation defense looks a little bit better. Already forces the ice block away from Cloud, who extended into the wall territory. From above there is Gala. You notice those torpedoes there, chunking Spaecstation down ever so slightly. Jaro low, now they're looking to try and take up residence here inside the hotel wall. From back behind him, but Sauna gets taken out by Sparker again, winning out in the Ashe matchup. What a way to find an edge, and this is so cheeky, man. Yeah. Trying to lock everyone in, but it looks like it's benefited Virtus.pro more than not. Hardy takes Cloud down, though, so the main factor, not an issue anymore. And that's a successful hold so far for SSG.
Yeah, Sauna goes over to the Tracer. They just need him to get back and get a touch, but the fight previous, there were two different times where Sparker got him low. The second time, Hardy able to finish him off as we head into OT.
Good poke from Gala, forced an ice block early here. Okay, Hyper Ring used, and Gala is going to be able to build that ultimate up, and Funny Astro has it as well. It's going to be a messy one. Lena's able to find two inside those orbital rays here, and only Rajaro gets involved so far for VP. Blizzard came out as well from Cloud. He falls, and I think that's about all she wrote here for VP. Nothing left to work with, and a successful full hold for SSG is big. Funny Astro here to talk about stats. I hear in the grapevine, i.e. Uncoachable's podcast, that he's a big stats looker, that one. So is Sparker.
Yeah, now it's just that, well, Spaecstation doesn't even give up a tick, right? Which is quite huge. So an opportunity here for them with a little bit of extra time. It's not going to be a huge difference maker in terms of kind of where that's at, right? 20 seconds is maybe like a spawn or two, right? But see if Spaecstation decides to pull anything interesting out. I think both teams are just going to kind of stay where they're at. I think if VP loses this map, man, I think they're in a world of trouble. I think trying to come back down 0-2 against a Spaecstation team that's looking this good, especially with Backbone being able to play the EMEA, I think they're in a lot of trouble.
Still, we saw them struggle time and time again. Virtus.pro definitely have a solid defense. I'll be real with you guys, the prospect of a draw is definitely not out of the question here. It's not a lot of time, minute 23. Such a small difference in banks. But it was that difference maker of Sauna. The pick off, of Sparker, the pick off on Sauna. Really started to open things up. Been very, very good over the last sort of 3 to 5 minutes of this game. So here comes Spaecstation with limited opportunities here to cap point A. You just get one tick is all they need. Virtus.pro looking very good on their defensive rotation. Let's see if they've still got it.
Yeah, the Spaecstation point A offense before was not very good as Sauna takes some big damage there from Sparker as you see Hadi kind of go try and take some of that high ground space away. Spaecstation's offense pretty poor the last go around. All they really need though, Mitch, is like one pick off here and it feels like they take the map.
Now, honestly, a good hit is all they're asking for. Backbone pressured away. A bit of a speed boost now. Wall's going to keep Backbone on the point, but he wants to try and fight this out. He's worried, though, about Sauna from the high ground, and as he should be. Sauna's in a very powerful defensive position. 36 seconds to play. Still going to be a clean kick on this point for Spaecstation, and Landon's already gone down. Dangerous times here. Hardy with the D-mech. Spaecstation need to regroup quickly if they can.
And I don't even know how you do, regroup quickly, right? As Backbone takes out Canale, but...
Well, they get wave respawns now. That's worth bearing in mind.
So you will get back into this fight. Is it enough time to get a touch?
Should be.
Should be.
But, I mean, you just eat a main wall here and get caught out. Hardy has to bait it. Gets the touch. Takes to the skies, but knows he's going to get a pummeling here either way. Okay, orbital raid comes up. Funny Astro still a couple of % behind in that one. Can they withstand it? VP actually dash ahead of it though, but it doesn't matter. They make short work of Spaecstation, and this, folks, is going to be a draw. Self-destruct, Hardy says, okay, well, not much more to do here. And that'll be that. No winner coming out of Kings Row.
No, it's a good old-fashioned draw. I feel like we haven't had one of those in a bit. I feel like we've had pretty consistent winners all throughout, but there's some of these brawl compositions, right? They play so 50-50 at times that you end up with this scenario like that where just like on their first offense, their second one, not much better there for Spaecstation.
Obviously, you're advantaged as a defender on point A of Kings Row. You have such a great spot for your Ashe to play from, for example. Yeah. And eventually someone gets picked off, right? There's a great orbital raid build up by Gala, who is on average building those up, maybe 5 to 10 seconds faster than Funny Astro. And it's making a big difference when you can be the ones to take the initiative in those fights. And the margins are tight here. These two teams are very evenly matched, and we are definitely looking at a preview of games to come, especially if Ents were to knock down, the winner of this game to the lower bracket. Expect to see them fight again. So getting our warm up here. Kings Row ultimately, even with no result, we got to see a lot. There's a lot to glean from this map and these two teams.
Yeah, and I think what happens for Spaecstation there towards the end is they get sawn low a few times. They're never able to really kind of capitalize on it. And then they lose Landon really early on. So that's a difficult thing to kind of battle back from, losing your Brig there right at the start of the fight. So really difficult for Spaecstation to kind of battle back into that offense where it was not good on point A on both sides. So VP, it's not a map win, right? But it feels a little bit more like a VP map win in the sense that
shut up.
They could have given it away. Well, what? It does feel a little bit more like a VP map win, and even though they didn't win a map.
That is pure 80 proof distilled cope. I guess so. I think I see what you're trying to say, but ultimately, I think what we saw from Spaecstation's defense towards the end of the map, the way that they sort of burnt that much clock, they definitely earned themselves at least to be on even footing, despite an attack side that definitely left a little bit to be desired initially. Both these teams felt stronger in different phases of their respective attack sides. I will say, Virtus.pro really limped over the line, whereas Spaecstation were able to push in pretty quickly. And it's a draw. It's a rare thing to see, but I think it speaks volumes about just how closely matched these two teams are. I'm just talking to the admins. We're going to run Kings Row again. How do you feel about that? I've just asked them to replay the whole
just
map.
Run it back. Yeah, that would be. I mean, you know what? Just like a new rule here, right? Just run it.
Oh, you're the commissioner, bro. You
run it back.
Make it happen. It can happen if you make it.
That's like what? Like in WWE where, both wrestlers are in the ring and they do the 10 count and then, the commish comes out and restarts the match. Just stand them back up. Just restart.
Unbelievably based. I'd say run it until they're ragged. So, Kings Row is done. The next map graphic is not true. It's going to be New Queen Street for our next map in this series. That's where we're headed here. A map where draws are much harder to come by. But this is a selection of Spaecstation. And they are curious to see what kind of comp they roll out on this map, if it is just going to be this sort of Diva-style comp. A big contrast, I think, between last time we saw VP play, where they were very much invested in that Ramatra style. Now SSG have forced them to play that Diva against them, and they look really good. This is the hero pool of Rajaro being shown. But Matt, Hardy's someone we talked about, said he's not known as a Diva player. I think we're getting to the point where he kind of is.
Yeah, he's been totally fine on the Diva, right? He's looked good. I don't think it's like something where you're like, oh man, I really just hate that look from Spaecstation. Like it's pretty poor. Like no, I think Hadi's Diva's been totally fine, and I think that you can play the Mei with that Diva. I think that's putting two of their players on like comfort heroes, so to speak. You're in a pretty good spot if you're Spaecstation. I think. Also, Funny Astros picked up the Juno quite well, adding another hero to his hero pool, which is pretty important for them moving down the line.
Absolutely. I do think that like Gala's looked really good there as well. Considering that this VP backline are the ones that we've we criticized a little bit because we didn't know if they had like an Ana Brig comp when they really needed it. On these maps like Paraiso and OWCS against these Diva compositions, right? But Gala's showing that flexibility continually now of being able to pick this role up, and Canale also on the Brig. So that also means that where we're in a world where like the Ana Brig backline had to be played by VP, they now have that option. Like they can now do that. Canale has been really labbing that Brig play in general.
I wonder if Spaecstation has anything kind of cooked up special here for New Queen Street, or it's just a map that they feel pretty comfortable on and just want to run that same type of compositions where now you kind of see them here early on, at least, looking like they just kind of want to stick here with this Diva. So play the Diva with the Juno and the Brig. So looks like they did nothing really they want to change up in terms of tank or composition.
All right, let's run back the same comps as before. You're going to get awfully used to these by the time the day's out, folks. Curious to see what NA's take is on... never mind, they can't play Juno. It might be a very different look, I think, compared to what we have here. So again, enjoy it.
Yeah, NA is going to look like a different world.
Yeah, and it'll be short-lived there. Ooh, good ward catch, Cloud. That's definitely going to be a free ice block for you, Backbone, but he has to use his two. Pops out of it instantly here to try and lay that pressure back down on Rajaro, who wants to just space the Mei a little bit further back from his front line. Backbone not interested in that, though. Wants to stay around. Wants to keep trying to put this pressure down, and it's working. Canale goes low. Another ice block used here for both Meis, as it seems. Rajaro has found, though, Funny Astro in the backline. Lennon instead's going to be the one to fall. Great Diva play for Rajaro. Finds an opening. Honestly, you make your own luck there. That was beautifully done.
I mean, it's a really good Diva play from Rajaro, and then also it's the ability for Sauna, like to look across where the fight's going down, really uncontested, and put down a big damage with the Dynamite, right? Just that ticking damage constantly putting pressure on the healers for Spaecstation Gaming, the supports, and eventually you just kind of rot out, right? You just all that ticking damage, and then extra damage kind of coming on in through the poke, and you end up falling.
All right, SSG want to try and make up some of this ground here. He's Hardy in a position to do what Rajaro just did. Gala wants to come forward here. Torpedo's at the ready, sir. And they're going to obviously have that healing and damage boost. They don't really need to make much use of it here. They want to group up around the rally instead. A bit of a non-bow between those ultimates so the orbital ray can move away from you. Again, that uptime on these torpedoes for Gala's been very, very solid. Just incremental little advantages being gained, and a checkpoint in the meantime. Spaecstation are struggling to maintain pace here on this Diva Mirror.
Yeah, this feels like the pace of play is just amped up to another level here where, like you mentioned, it is both support ults, right? So it is an early checkpoint for VP, but it does cost them some. But with how things are going, I mean, you kind of throw this bomb in, even with the orbital ray here for Funny Astro, you can still, like, if you can kite that, great, and then maybe you come back, live to fight another day, get one more engagement.
Okay, here comes Bob from Sauna. Doesn't really seem to be in a great spot, maybe more at a defensive location, but it was enough to catch Hardy out, get him out of mech as well. Rajaro, same issue, but has a self-destruct to clamber back in, which means that VP still have priority, and they still have this tempo. Look at Hardy immediately move up to take this high ground now.
Yeah, and this time, right, where you're getting this push, and Funny Astro's hasn't used his ultimate, that's going to allow VP to build back up to both of their support ultimates yet again.
Backbone finally finds one here. Spaecstation looking to break the deadlock eventually. Now Rajaro looking to go forward there, go aggressive, took that high ground up, but Spaecstation able to hang on there, and only cost them that Bob.
Not 97 meters in 3 minutes. That's pretty good for VP. As good as you can possibly start without just kind of, running it straight all the way down. So we'll see now how Spaecstation kind of, battles back, starts to get some of this meterage back. Checkpoint here would be enormous for them, right? An early checkpoint kind of give themselves a next spot of where the bot will continue to kind of walk through to. So, but look at this. This is quite aggressive from VP, straight down the stairs.
Yeah, and look, Spaecstation are ready for this, right? They have an array of their own to throw out. That Blizzard ends up looking like a defensive one here, and Hardy's still able to get rid of Sauna. Sparker with a little space, but concerned about who was playing in the tube. That's Rajaro, low, and no chance to remech at all. So that's 2 consecutive fights, won by Spaecstation, and now that checkpoint is beckoning.
I mean, would you say that's even slightly like too aggressive there, you know, or reckless from VP to just kind of pop rally, just go straight down the stairs, like even with the May walls gone, right? And knowing there's no Blizzard in play, still, it just seemed like just kind of maybe you're trying to get some of those ultimates out, right? Like you're trying to get the Ray and the Rally out, and maybe that's the idea here. Now VP gets another fight before checkpoint. That could be what they were looking for.
It's an awkward spot to play from either way, Matt. Could have maybe just taken their time a little bit. Here comes the Ray, though, from VP this time. Immediately, you see Spaecstation disperse. I don't think they want any of this, but Backbone looks like he's been caught out. Rajaro not allowing him to retreat up the stairs here. Though it takes a lot of damage in order to do so. Constantly being healed, though. Gala getting back towards yet another ultimate just by keeping Rajaro standing. Backbone gets caught out here and then self-destruct from Hardy. Oh, catches Canale. Wait a minute. Cloud goes down as well. Keep that shield up, young son. Landon trying to stay alive against this pressure of Rajaro. It's going to force a remech here via that ultimate. Self-destruct pop. Funny Astro did fall in the periphery. The Spaecstation still have a degree of confidence to come forward with.
Well, it'll be a spawn advantage though for VP, right? So it's going to force Spaecstation to back on it up just a little bit. So, you know, try and get back at full strength and then have the entire team there with, you know, 4 ultimates, right? They know they have a pretty large advantage in terms of the ultimate economy at the moment. That's why you see them starting to now, as soon as everybody's back, pick up the pace.
And Spaecstation see the chance to come forward here. The main wall from Virtus.pro a little bit too far forward to actually block off the stairwell, so they can't cleanly disengage at all. And remember, the bot last stopped right in front of the checkpoint, so we're just going to zoom around the corner. And Spaecstation can probably equalize, at least in that metric here.
Yeah, as you see players at the end for VP just kind of throw themselves at the bot, just slow it down for any period of time. Yeah, Gala just needs to live. This will be checkpoint though for Spaecstation Gaming, so Spaecstation even it up in that regard in terms of you know, getting that checkpoint, but still in terms of meterage, you know, 35% and counting now, behind, but should be able to close this pretty quick. That's going to be the bomb to kick things off your Sparker. Both support ultimates are in for VP, so absolute must win.
Okay, they have the second Ray, but Funny Astro is still brought down by Gala regardless, and Hardy can't stay in mech even with that extra healing. Virtus.pro again, once more, I'd say their orbital ray economy vastly superior.
Yeah. And then it's also so difficult in push, like even though you're battling, you know, getting back into this here, if you're Spaecstation, like the advantage here for VP in terms of having, you know, that much, you know, advantage in terms of meter, right? It's going to be very difficult to, you know, fight back, regardless if you win, you know, 2-3 fights in a row.
Instantly, Backbone wants to stall this out a little bit more, so throws that nice block out pretty early. Still, Spaecstation want to play by the stairs. Yeah, you're a little susceptible to these walls. Hardy has the mobility, though, to get away. I think Spaecstation just want to reposition. They're going to have to give up a little bit more ground to do so. But Backbone without an ice block there for a couple of seconds just didn't really want to risk it, I think. Here come the right clicks. That wall's going to get broken through pretty quickly. Like John Cena comes the bot. Now Canale is one. Literally, actually one. Oh, Rajaro also out of mech here too.
Yeah, Rajaro, I think, was trying to keep him alive using the defense things, just kind of flying around him, and then you end up losing, you know, Canale, Rajaro getting a remake back, but you end up losing Sauna there as well. But so does Bob in the afterlife, ends up picking up a kill. Look at this. I mean, this is going to be the Ray from Gallus. He wants to continue to bite this.
Pretty insane 4v5 fight win there for Virtus.pro, Matt. There's no two ways about it. That was sick. They lose Canale right at the beginning, and Rajaro was also forced into a self-destruct in order to remake. Despite that, they're able to come back and actually clap Spaecstation, send them scurrying once more, and now the 2-minute warning is about to come up here. Still a healthy 30 or so meter lead for VP.
Yeah, this is a brutal scenario for Spaecstation to be in. It may have been, you know, one they look back on, like, you know, 2 fights ago, right, was the one to take it, where they kind of, you know, push up and everybody kind of throws their things into it, and that's their best scenario there, is Sparker getting an angle and Rajaro just comes flying at him through the window. See a rally from Canale.
Here's the Ray again. That's the same location as we saw it last time. Spaecstation only need a little bit more push, but they're going to need a one fight right in front of where the barricade actually is. They need to get there first. So we are looking at 2, maybe 3 consecutive fight wins, especially with the way VP are playing here. Picking the box for the first fight at least. Spaecstation also want to maintain a blizzard coming into the next one, so fairly cheaply won, all things considered, just the orbital ray being used right at the beginning. And off they go now to chase that total of 97 meters.
Yeah, and they don't have to kind of wait for the butt scratch, right? The bot's already got the checkpoint, so it's just going to be the meterage here from now on. And with a minute to go, this is probably their best opportunity, right? You lose a fight here, 20, 30 seconds left, the bot goes back into your territory. It'd be very difficult. Looks like they back out here for a second. Maybe they don't want to just exactly like push into this high ground, right? They want to, like, you see where Funny Astro sit up there and Sparker as well. They want to try and play from these positions where it'd be in the high ground or here on the flank and then go in, but they actually lose Landon right off the rip.
It's an unreal amount of damage that Sparker did there with the Dynamite Bob follow-up, but Landon somehow was exposed. Rajaro must have found an opening to get in there and get the brig. And I know that Spaecstation don't want to push up against the high ground because the Ash is just so oppressive from there, but they're running out of time. At some point, they're just going to have to throw caution to the wind and get busy. They got one more fight, Matt, and the ults aren't looking great. I'll be honest with you. No Bob available. VP sitting on that Juno ultimate, plus a remake opportunity for Rajaro, and a Blizzard of their own. Definitely an ult economy lead. Can they convert it?
Yeah, they got to keep Landon alive, at least to get this rally, which he's got right now. See if he can get any good value out of it as Rajaro gets quite low. It's going to be back over the Blizzard.
It's pretty solid. Rajaro and Canale both caught inside of it. Cloud also able to get his own Blizzard off, but caught in it. Backbone going to fall, though, to Cloud's Blizzard. It looks like VP able to put it together. It was a nice attempt there and a good Blizzard in general for Spaecstation, but they weren't able to rush in, both teams with half their members frozen up. And that's Virtus.pro evening the series.
Yeah, it looks like when the pace of play starts to ramp up, that's when VP looks like at their best, right? When they can play fast, and that might actually bode well for them going into Flashpoint as well, right? I know the next map in the set where I think for Spaecstation you just gave up so much progress early on, where 98 meters or so. There's no way you're going to be able to fight back from that.
Yeah, and they didn't want to push into the high ground, right? We saw SSG like try and be methodical about it, which I respect, but you've got the same sort of comps, and then they try and like kind of bait them back, right? They send a bob in and it all looks good, and again, like Landon gets caught on the brig, and sadly that's happened a couple times. Crucially, it happened in that extra innings on King's Row as well. VP are doing a really good job of finding that brig and just overwhelming them with this damage. And it's happening in fights that are must win for Spaecstation.
Yeah, absolutely. I think even on King's Row, right, you were losing Landon pretty early on in a lot of different situations, right? Just keeping that brig alive. It's great to have the orbital array as you see here, but the rally and the bash and just kind of the passive healing that the brig provides. It's just unmatched, especially when the diva wants to get aggressive. So trying to figure out how you keep Landon up. I think it's also just Rajaro doing a good job being aggressive and finding that target constantly.
Yeah, honestly, impressed with Virtus.pro. They've obviously adapted to this composition really well. We knew that Rajaro had what it took on the diva. It's just so interesting to see VP play so little Ramatra here. It's like out of respect and maybe a realization that diva is still the number one option, or maybe just a little weak against the Ramatra looks. They're just kind of going for it. So got to respect them for that. And Suravasa is just around the corner here. Obviously, probably don't expect to see a big change in comps, but we're going to take a break. We're going to come back. We have a series with a draw in it, so it's still 1-1 coming into map number 4. Don't go too far. More coming your way. Here it is once more. We're getting treated to a Spaecstation versus VP matchup in our upper semi-finals. This one always seems to go the distance, at least in the upper part of the bracket. And Virtus.pro fight back admirably on New Queen Street after a very close King's Row, such that we got a big pixelated draw symbol for you just to indicate there was no winner decided in that map. So Suravasa is just around the corner here, and both these teams are stuck to these diva compositions with the Juno backup, Matthew.
Yeah, and I think obviously Suravasa has a lot of like high ground different areas, so I think you'll kind of can see the diva yet again. And I think these teams are just kind of committed to these comps, and I also think it's kind of like where we're at in terms of the meta, at least when Juno's in it, right?
Absolutely. She's very powerful, and sometimes it's the kind of strength that doesn't always meet the eye. Like, you just don't see what kind of impact she has until she calls down a orbital land strike and makes her team unkillable and also do even more damage. It's just that that raw stat advantage, if you can play within that radius adequately, that gives you such an edge and makes you confident coming forward, taking that risk and brawling things out here. It is reminiscent of like other main supports in the past when they've been at their peak in terms of power, and really the idea of just trying to stack that AoE healing for that window and make utmost use of it. I would say with Rally active inside that ult, you can't really die. But hey, at least we have to have two DPS at all times, because God knows what our comps would look like otherwise.
Thank heavens that's the case. You know, I mean, who knows? I don't even want to think about it at this point. But VP actually does play Ramatra here. Interesting. So they'll play the Ramatra versus the D.Va, where I think there are points here where you would want the D.Va, right, to kind of control some of that high ground, right, to deny like Ashe some of the sight lines there.
Well, just fundamentally, I think the Mei wall is a little more scary to you as Ramatra, as you don't have the choice to go around it, but you have such durability.
It's not exactly that scary. Yeah,
in Nemesis form, like once the D.Va makes that initial dive, it's on for young and old. You throw up a hyper ring, you get that speed boost. Ramatra's already sped up with Nemesis form as it is, and you make a beeline for the squishiest target you can find.
Yep. Hey, play Ramatra, wait out some of their cooldowns, use Nemesis form, run on in, and just start punching, right? As I mean, this is quite brutal for Hadi. I mean, a few times now he's been staggered out pretty tough, right? I mean, you end up losing your mech, then you get it back. Now you're just killed. So that's like, what? I mean, you're gonna give up probably up to 60%.
Can we just give Baby D.Va a cyanide pill? For the love of God. This is the future, for God's sake.
I thought you were gonna, like, a better way of just saying, like, I go back the spawn button, but I mean that's quite that would be quite sad.
Well, I mean, what's even sadder is being FRD getting staggered out for like 2 minutes straight. That's tough for Hadi. One of the downsides, obviously, of playing D.Va here, and clearly the Mei wall threat. Not that scary for Rajaro, but a lot of poke being taken. He's opted to go for Nemesis form, and look at them go up a gear. Virtus.pro want to take the fight here to Spaecstation. Blizzard is thrown down, and Hadi, D-Mech, looking for a self-destruct now to get that refreshed. It's going to force much of VP away, but Landon gets caught by this annihilation. Rajaro just trying to back up here. Hadi wants to pressure this down, but as soon as the healing comes, he's going to realize that he cannot kill the Ramatra. 99% to 0 here. Comes Bob. Canale is active now with the rally in the fight, but who's to benefit from it here? Just the Ramatra. And knocking Canale down is beautiful from Hadi. Now the Ramatra can't benefit at all.
I was gonna say, they have a pretty nice advantage, right? Having the rally right after the Ramatra ult, right? You just kind of chain those together, but it does not work out that way. As soon as the rallies popped, it feels like they just lose 2 players, and Spaecstation able to hold on. I guess fortunate for Spaecstation is you get control of a point and you don't use any support ults to be able to do it.
Spaecstation Gaming formulating now this hold that needs to last the rest of this flashpoint. Let's listen in to see how they do it.
There's a big bottom left. From bottom, can we start peak spot? 3, 2, 1. We can look for Mei ult. Yeah. Mei is slow. Break. Mei. Ashe.
Look at me.
Yeah, Mei. Yeah, walk up on the round. Walk together on a time. 3, 2, 1. Ashe 1. Ashe. Back. Break and drum. Drum 1. No more guys. Come on.
I thought they got a kill, my bad.
No, it's fine.
Juno here, do you have a speed? Do you have a speed?
Do you guys want a surprise?
Oh, this is that spawn.
Life's pretty boring without funny Astro on your team, folks. That's what I've concluded.
That's just fantastic.
The old orbital beam comes out, and perhaps was not necessary. Either way, it's all fine.
Hadi seemed super upset that it was used because he's going to be just swung on by a Ramatra here shortly. But you lose Sporker. I mean, that's tough.
Well, good shot there from Sauna. Spaecstation are ill-advised at even really trying to participate in this next little engagement. They seem to agree. Going to play from the periphery for the time being, at least until the extra player rejoins their ranks, and then they'll have to contest with Annihilation and, the Orbital Ray. It's a pretty scary combination. Virtus.pro have everything they need here. Now, how do they ration this ultimate lead?
This is the spot that VP was in before, right? They had control of the first flashpoint. They got all these support ultimates. They had the Annihilation. They win a fight. They lose the next one. Then they lose the point. So It's can you hold on to enough to have something for the next fight, right? I mean, that's kind of the goal here.
Rajaro just enjoying an ice bath and actually finding it helps his recovery on the next day. He wasn't bothered at all as the orbital ray kept him very healthy. Canal, though, goes down to the Bob. That's the only real casualty, though, that Virtus.pro look to be taking in this fight. Rajaro, immovable as always. Wall thrown up to make it even harder for Spaecstation to peer in and intervene. So we're at 62%, and we've held on to that annihilation.
And you get a kill on a Gali here. So, I mean, this is good, though, for Spaecstation, right? Hotie's going to get healed back up. You're going to have both support ults. You're going to come right back in. They have no Juno here. Really, it's just the damage that Sauna's putting down on the Hottie that's deterring them from even moving in, but now they just go all out.
Okay, and Virtus.pro holding on to their ultimates here.
They use the rally and the beam again stacked together.
Yep, I mean, they're powerful ults, but there's always the question of, whether or not both were required after that free pick on Sauna.
You might have an idea of what the comms are like.
Get me back in the comms, yeah.
Get me back in the comms.
Oh man, I can imagine Christopher just pulling his hair out. Oh, that's funny. I'd love to hear the story behind this one later on. Either way, VP on the way back. And sometimes we've seen those support ultimates laid here intentionally, or at least that seemed that way, so definitely does give you a massive edge, a huge advantage in that fight.
Oh, big dynamite there from Sparker, right? Connects on a lot of these players trying to take some of this high ground.
Yeah, I think Hardy was looking to capitalize on that too, was sneaking into the back line. Now, though, we'll have the fight turned on him. Ooh, awkward. Can you get back behind your mech, Hardy? No, you cannot. That is a rough one. Now, Virtus.pro can move to take the point with Annihilation. Backbone able to LOS that behind his wall, but really just a stall attempt here.
Oh, he's got his block as well. And the block's on the point. Yeah.
Blizzard is deep, catching Rajaro at least. See above him though, you can see Gala is there, and okay!
Oh.
The orbital ray not actually able to keep Rajaro alive. It ends up getting placed a bit further forward from where Juno is, and Gala doesn't quite, I guess, predict the spacing between them and Rajaro well enough, and the beam's just not there when it needs to be. What a massive error! Just a small thing that looks compounded now, given the stakes of the fight, and that's another SSG point.
And it's the same exact kind of flow, right? VP gets control early, Spaecstation, gets control at like 99 or, in the 80s, right? And then Spaecstation ends up winning the point in the end and finds themselves just one flash point away here from coming out on top on this map, which would be quite huge.
Okay. VP on the setup once more. And now, all ray out for Funny Astro. Listen, Daniel, if you use it now, you can't layer it with landing. It's not possible.
Well, you're getting close to being able to.
All right, here it is. Pop the beam down, baby. Get it going. Funny Astro able to find Rajaro there. Just a bit of extra damage to push him over the line. Well, Cloud was the first to be caught there.
I don't know why when you said that here's the beam. The Sacramento Kings in basketball after they win.
When they win, right? It's like the beam.
Yeah, they light the beam.
Yeah,
we need a Kings Juno skin where it just screams
Sacramento
light
mentioned.
the Sacramento Juno skin. It is this time a little odd. Spaecstation in control of the point first. I've not seen this really drop this flash point. It's been VP getting control early on. It'll be Rally popped in response to the bop.
Still, Gala's able to find that extra damage. It was Backbone felled early. With the rally, can you work with this? Hardy wants a remake. Trying to show. Oh, that's so dirty, bro. I saw that nudge. Cloud was on the wall on the left-hand side. Thought he was clear of it. Such a high-value kill, by the way, to get that on a May. You just don't see that every day. Now what do you do with that? Spaecstation just lost the flip, and losing Spark means this fight's probably already over, but I like that from Hardy.
Well, I was thinking if you keep everybody up, right, and get Sparker back in, I know maybe you kind of come back in with that bot, but they actually Blizzard here in the front, and it looks like they just have Canale, who is actually using Rally, so that's a huge pick as Spaecstation. They back out, now they decide to push back in.
Okay, but the wall is so huge here. The May plays in this fight have been so sick. Hardy was very isolated and demexed by that. Little orbital ray play from Virtus.pro to make sure that Hardy couldn't even give him a tickle.
Son, VP holds on after using a big support ult, right? And now they have to be so careful, right? For Spaecstation, you come back in with a ray of your own and a bomb. I think the Blizzard probably from Cloud, probably the big thing that could deter, or prevent even, a fight loss. It's going to be the speed rings in for both sides. To be a Blizzard that comes through here from Cloud is You're trying to keep Hadi alive, but actually they get Sauna.
Okay, and they're going to surge ahead. They see that advantage. The wall is great. It's going to capture half of Virtus.pro here. That's perfect for Spaecstation. They've saved this flashpoint for themselves, and they put themselves on track to win the map here. Rajaro had to use a remake to... I mean, I guess he was thinking of trying to stall and fight, but almost better to have just let that happen and try and find a way back in at some other point here. Rally going to be used. Spaecstation want to fight this. I love this extra stagger. This is going to make it impossible for Virtus.pro to fight again. Beautiful decision. Great calling for them to go forward here, as opposed to letting Virtus.pro go back and group up. This should be the map here off that one decision. We've had no shortage of bloopers. Definitely some funny moments left and right here, but ultimately Spaecstation have been rock solid when and where it counts. And they're going to close this out. Nicely done. Suravasa goes to SSG.
Yeah, pretty convincingly as well, right? As SSG looking really good in those D.Va head-to-heads. Rajaro using the Ramatro is like some of probably the most success I would say that VP had there. But the D.Va play from Hotties continues to be pretty good throughout this series. And the first 2 points, SSG kind of battles back in the clutch, and then towards in that final flash point, it was back and forth. But I agree with you; it's a great decision to kind of use those support ults at 86% or so on the point, push on forward, get those kills, and secure it.
Absolutely. Now, I don't know exactly what the FACEIT system says about like a drawn map, like in terms of how the maps are selected following that, but we'll cross that bridge if and when we get to it.
I see the team just wins.
Okay, all right. Commissioner has spoken, folks. I see the
No,
team
that's
wins.
not true.
Okay.
Not true.
All right, because when you say things, I kind of assume immediately that is nothing but fact. But going back here over Suravasa, pretty hard fought first point, right? I mean, it is Spaecstation again, start from behind and actually able to come back. This one is a weird one. Again, it's like Rajaro just not quite getting the healing that he needs, I think, from the orbital ray. Just tough for Gala to line them up. And outside of that, Gala's been really stellar over the course of this entire series. In fact, all day that we've seen him. But SSG had that grit. They really doubled down. And yeah, I love this last fight. That little cheeky self-destruct from Hardy was, oh man, look at this. Look at Cloud, bottom of your screen. He knows this. He knows he's cooked, man. So good.
I also think you're starting to see like Sparker come out a little bit on top in terms of the hit scan battle. In this one. So,
okay.
But Junkertown, there's like I mean, there's not a map like it, right? I mean, who the hell knows what you come out with here, right? We saw a lot of Wrecking Ball. I know you can play Widow here. The only thing is that like for VP, looks like you don't have Shockwave here today. He would be their Widow player, right? I mean, Shockwave would be the Widow player that you would play here on Junkertown. So you see if he comes in, but something tells me probably not. And on the SSG side, I mean, you have the ability to play. Do you play Psycho? Do you want to play like Tracer here all the time, right? Does Backbone come out? Do you want to play Widow? I think some sub options here for both teams.
They could play. They could play Ashe. Wait for it. With the May and D.Va. They could mix in Juno, who's available right now to play.
Yes.
And they could put a Brig in the comp as well.
They could do that. I was waiting. I was like, who's he going to take out? And then, I just saw actually that little, that look right there. It's like the same one with the monkey with the tambourines inside your head. And I was like, you're just going to rattle off the comp we've seen all day. But
the moment of realization for Matt there. Look, we've seen Sparker play like the Widow on this map. I feel like last time we watched them, Shockwave went kind of wild.
He went sick.
And had a really good game. He may not be available today. That being said, like Sauna's shown us like some hit scan prowess. So perhaps that is something that VP have up their sleeve. We're just really starting to see what the extent of Sauna's hero pool actually is on virtue of VP not having that sub at their fingertips today. And obviously Backbone has stayed in for much more of the series than normal. This might be a bench riding meta for Psycho, obviously, as like more that Farah and Tracer player. Considering that this team is looking to play a bit more brawl, so it might be time for Backbone to get his moment in the sun.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you're going to see Backbone just kind of play the entire time, right? As typically we see Tracer a focal point of the meta, right? Where it kind of gives some of those players like Psycho a home the entire time to play always, but at least what we're seeing early on. I mean, Tracer used sporadically throughout the day, but not extremely impactful.
No, I mean, definitely mixed in briefly, and there was like a bunch of Trace play like earlier on in the day. I think it was like our first match, right? And it seemed fine. It honestly seemed fine, but these kinds of teams, like especially Spaecstation, they find something that really works for them, they really stick to it. They are going to go for the Widow, though. Again, the changes to this map give Widow way more options on defense, as opposed to like play with the team and be cramped, or play back, you know, past that first checkpoint and be right out of the action and not really have a great sight line to work with. So we may end up getting that Widow mirror to start with. It's just too hard to look away from, I think, in this first phase of the map, which is very open.
And I guess you're going to see both teams actually just, you know, pretty much on par with what you said, except just sub out the Ashe for a Widowmaker and just go. Saw will probably just throw a Sonic here, just give himself some vision here at the start. Why not?
I aim to devastate.
Any edge that you can get. First pick on a Widow basically can, you know, mean a checkpoint, and there it is. Sparker goes up. I mean, this is definitely, I mean, it's Juno season. Make no mistake. Very scary to try and play that hero against Widow in general. You just float around so much.
I feel like this comp though, there's like a. So I feel like the advantage is, obviously Sonic can play. Oh wow, Hottie gets demech. Sonic can play the Widow, but I mean Sparker we've seen, you know, be fantastic, like world class on this hero. So could definitely be quite difficult as Rajaro just trying to stay alive here, but also they desperately want this kill on the Hottie.
Hottie desperately wants to get back in their mech if he possibly can, but Landon has been picked off here. Again, always seems to be the first target in these fights, the first casualty. Hottie gets the mech. Okay, we're back. We're so back. Hottie dies into the fight, but Backbone had already been taken down. So again, that extreme tempo loss as a result of losing your Diva mech is what gets exacerbated by Virtus.pro. Spaecstation lose that first fight.
Yeah, Spaecstation just trying to dwindle some time off the clock, right? They throw Backbone's body at it, then they throw Hottie there. They lose Landon a little bit earlier, where you see the supports on VP, pretty sizable advantage in terms of building up towards those key ultimates, right? I think you're really looking at, like, can Sparker find some picks here? That's what I'm looking at.
Of course, for those at home, this is map number 5. Not map 4, as is indicated, because we did have a little King's Row moment. Here's a rally from Canale. Sparker looks like they were stunned up briefly there. Yep, weren't able to get enough space, and Gala chased them down with the torpedoes. Now Hardy's pushed up, but he's definitely bitten off more than he can chew now. You can see that orbital ray threatens. Definitely going to be buffing up Virtus.pro now as they continue this fight and force Hardy right back inside the second phase of the map. He won't be allowed to escape. Even a Maywall throwing up to stop him. That very rude. Hardy won't be losing mech for this.
Yeah, I think he'll be able to make it back. Obviously not get demeched. Will you be able to make it back? Is Backbone just tried to fight that for a second? Oh, nice whip shot there, actually, from Canale. I believe that's like a bash into the wall. You see him just kind of like ride the lip there. It's like a bash in the wall, and the momentum kind of takes you up, and then he actually lands a whip shot from there. So they ice wall off that like main area that you can come out, and then just whip shot through there. That's actually a really sick play there from the Brig on VP.
All right, have aim for sights matched here. Spark having to duke it out a little bit here, but Sorta comes off second best. Both Divas beeline for the enemy Widows, but Hardy is the one that actually gets his prize. And now, since he's already in the backline, he may as well keep getting to work. Backbone also joins him to help out. And Virtus.pro are out of here.
It's Sauna, this would be quite interesting. So you're gonna ditch the Widow and now play Genji. So throughout the day, okay, no, Tracer. I was gonna say, throughout the day we've seen no Genji really at all. We've seen mostly what? Ashe, we've seen some Cassidy, a little bit of Tracer, right? And Faro and Nico from One Man Army, but that's just kind of like Top Dragon as Sparker just takes on his head off. The Tracer's like interesting because it's gonna take a while to kind of like access this high ground, right? Gonna have to like go on these like longer tight flanks. Not as easy as a Genji is. Everybody's throwing their blizzards in here, and the Mix's Cloud just trying to get rid of Hottie. Now we have Backbone throwing his blizzard in late.
Honestly, based Backbone with the later blizzard there is big. Hardy would have been in deep trouble there. It would have been very susceptible to being demeched at the very least, but VP couldn't do it. They got frozen stiff before they had a chance to pressure him on down. Rajaro has to back up here real quick, but it looks like, yeah, Spaecstation wanted to go forward until they saw this ultimate. Orbital Ray comes out. Funny Astra going to use his own as well and landed in with the rally. Looks like it might be by design that they're combining these support ultimates. Sparker found a nice pick on Gala there. Again, Landon, the first casualty in this fight for Spaecstation. The focus for Virtus.pro has been good, always looking at the Brig. Sparker eventually falls to the dive of Rajaro.
Yeah, it's just Backbone's been so annoying. It feels like constantly always on the payload, has his wall, has his block, is still here, just causing trouble as they will get a mech on Hottie. They'll finally do a Backbone, but just precious time burned as Sparker now goes over to Ashe. So no longer needing to play the Widow. Also, the constant like harassment from the Tracer, it's just not worth it. You can play the Ashe for a little bit more consistency and survivability.
Spaecstation, can they get into this fight without getting pulsed on the way there? Well, they got used. Sorna wasn't able to find any squishies, no multi-kills, nothing of the sort. Rajaro's a problem, he's in the backline here, and Hardy's had to ignore him, but Hardy just blows Canale up. Gotta respect that. Funny Astro here as well, just layering that healing over the fight. The self-destruct though, that's interesting. Rajaro actually uses that one aggressively. Doesn't quite pan out the way he would have liked it to though. And out of mech, Hardy finds him and knows that he has a distinct advantage in the D.Va matchup there.
Yeah, I think just trying to use it maybe offensively there for Rajaro to just kind of clear. You're so close to getting the objective, like less than a meter. Maybe you kind of clear it out and somebody just moves it over the line, but not the case there. So under a minute on the clock. VP, you do have Blizzard if you can kind of force the fight down to happen on the payload. I think for Spaecstation, you're looking at like, can you get a pick from Sparker here? I mean, that would be enormous.
Can the Ashe get done here? Sorna opting for the Tracer, definitely a more familiar pick for us, seeing him on that. Here they come, get the speed boost for the D.Va, straight into the back line. There's the Ray, gonna force an ice block from Backbone. The self-destruct there, not sure what the idea was for Hardy, that one just sort of limps onto the card, and Virtus.pro will get that time extension here.
Well, I don't think there's anything you had really done there if you're Spaecstation, right? With the way they kind of set that fight up from VP. So I think what they tried to do was have Backbone ice block on the point, and then Hottie kind of throw the self-destruct in from the backside, like almost like behind where VP was looking, and see maybe catch one, then you kind of keep the fight interesting, right? You do some damage, but obviously it doesn't pan out that way.
Well, a little speed boost off to the players on the high ground here, but Landon falls foul of the pulse from poor Landon. Man, getting focused down instantly every time. Going to bring you such a problem in the later fight, and without them available, it's harder to force Rajaro off that dive axis. So I get it. Very low though, goes Backbone up there. He's forced into an ice block on the low ground. It's going to take him a long time to get back up there, should he choose to do so. The poke is bothering him a lot, I can see that. And there it is, an Astro going to go down instead. Rally here for Landon. Well, I've seen worse.
It does seem like with just rally, it's not enough to kind of stay alive. It feels like you actually need some of like the support that Juno can provide as well. As Hottie will take out Gala on a little bit of an exit here. Spaecstation, you'll end up, you know, with your orbital array here to use. But I mean, VP, they're stacked. I mean, a map completion here would be massive for Virtus.pro. A little bit of a surprise, right? With I think how good Spaecstation's been potentially on defense.
Finally go in once more. Funny Astro at least has the Ray to reciprocate now, and Backbone was hoping to play inside of it, but the damage boost for VP was way too much. And they have run roughshod over Spaecstation in the last minute or so of play. In this whole phase of the map, they've been the better team. And that's going to get them at least with the map completion here. Whether or not they have time to spare remains to be seen. They do. 1.2 seconds is what they have left. We are just playing as much of every map today as humanly possible.
Yeah, for real. I mean, it's kind of wild. As I think at the end there, you're playing with the orbital array, right? And Funny Astros comes out a little bit later, but there's also the rally there for VP. I mean, it's almost at that point. I mean, with the damage boost, the healing, the rally, like you said earlier, it's like you're just kind of like unkillable. I mean, there's nothing you could really do, right?
I mean, it offers you just so much. We did see though, in that last fight, Backbone inside like an orbital ray, and the healing is very good, but when your opponent has one too, they also have the damage boost aspect, which I wouldn't say it necessarily cancels it. Well, it actually might do more than cancel out the healing, depending, right? It doesn't mean that you're necessarily safe. That's why things get really volatile when both Junos use their ultimates, because yeah, both teams get healing, but both get damage amped. I think 5 players shooting at someone with the damage amp is definitely going to cancel out any sort of like healing over time effect here. So very hard to call how a lot of those fights are going to go when we have synced up Juno ultimates.
Yeah, I mean, I think when the ultimates are synced, I think it becomes just, you know, really, it's almost like, can you just focus one target down, right? And just focus all your damage down on one target. I think if you're kind of like spread it all, I feel like you're gonna kill just about nobody.
Okay, Widows are out here. Sauna obviously starting on defense with the Widow as well. Sparker found a big first pick at the start of the map. That was on Gala. I don't think he's going to be floating like a butterfly so much anymore around this Widow. See a grapple up from Sauna, doesn't see much, but realizes Spaecstation are actually pushing up here towards his right, so he needs to worry about losing that sort of safe high ground as Sparker is, well, he's here. He's definitely set up. Clears the mine as well. That means that obviously he won't be visible. And there's Backbone though, maybe just getting a little sloppy there. Maybe no ice block available, it's unclear, but I see him by Virtus.pro. Good little thrust up defensively.
Yeah, playing a little bit more aggressive like with the Widow on offense there as for Spaecstation is kind of when we saw VP, right? Sauna just played a little bit more passive, and that's going to be the switch right off of the Widow, which is quite interesting because I feel like Sparker's been pretty good on the Widowmaker, but just maybe feel like don't want to put all your eggs in the basket of just kind of getting those insta kills, right? Want to play a little bit safer here with a Tracer.
Yeah, I think Spaecstation are thinking about time a little bit now, especially realizing they've kind of got to finish the map. So if they can expedite this whole process of like exchanging pleasantries across the map and hoping your Widow gets the picks and you can snowball a team fight, then you may look just to go to the source of the problem and excise Sauna like a tumor. Chasing up to the high ground, Sauna well aware that there's a Tracer in his vicinity. Elsewhere though, the fight really is breaking down with Backbone falling to his opposite number Tracer. And Sauna knows that the verticality is the big edge that he has over Sparker here. He's going to make much use of that as possible. Sauna. Spot Sparker going for the health pack. Elementary, my dear Watson.
Yeah, I mean, can't do anything there. So, just tack stalled out for Spaecstation yet again. So now, I mean, look how far back Sauna's looking. I mean, just trying to get a grapple probably from the water tower over the top. So. Both support ultimates available for Spaecstation. Lead in with a land and rally. He actually goes for like a bash right around the corner. Doesn't connect. Everything thrown in.
And Backbone realizes that there was a lot of aggression there in that moment from Cloud. He was trying to come forward, so he hoped to catch him with a Blizzard, but still it's Rojaro opening up the account early yet again. And Sauna, look at the space. They are chilling. With Sparker down, there is no one to truly threaten the Widow. And I like that. Get some taps across the map here, try and really chase away these Spaecstation players. Virtus.pro snapping at the heels as they flee for spawn.
Yes, I mean, it's a tough one for Spaecstation to lose, man, because they don't have the insta-kill kind of capability, right, that you do with like a Widow in the mix. And then you end up using your Blizzard and both support ultimates. Now the Infocyte is going to dwindle the clock even some more. Just puts them in a really difficult spot here. Is VP's defense, no, even on King's Row is really good. I mean, that's landing and picked right around the corner.
Well, Homie put the shield down for just a moment, apparently, and that ended up being his demise. That's rough. Spaecstation here really struggling to find an answer. With 47 seconds left in the round, they need to find an edge. Where does it come from? Sort of down. Backbone found him by the most unconventional means, I'm sure. Having no Hardy means Spaecstation have no party.
Yeah, this one looks like we're getting, you know, an extra map with the way things are going. I mean, Sauna just uncontested on the Widow. I feel like you kind of had to play it, and also kind of a little bit surprised that Spaecstation doesn't. Because Sparker pretty good on the hero, but maybe felt like the safer option was to continue to kind of play Tracer. But this one looking like it's all VP.
Widow might have felt like too much of a dice roll for Spaecstation, but they've rolled natural one so far in this round. Ooh, Gala! I saw that! Sparker gets caught out by one of those pulsar torpedoes, and now Spaecstation have to make do with 4, with 3, and the countdown begins, folks. Cloud, nice little ice block there. The Orbital Ray, pretty powerful ability. Sauna and Canal both fall now. We're thinking about the respawns here for Spaecstation. The Backbone is going to be sent back. Remember, it's wave respawns now in this game, but Backbone joins that next wave and doesn't come back with his teammates once more. So Hardy, without any support of the main variety, and Cloud wants to chase this. You've got to be careful. You've got to respect it. Hardy's still standing. Eventually going to be brought down. Funny Astro dead to yet another torpedo from Gala, who's been dominating with those today. Almost as good as Gogo in the previous game. And that'll be that. Junkertown ends as Spaecstation struggle to get past the first choke.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't even make it past the bridge. That is just a dominant defense there from VP. As you know, a rarity here, we go to a map 6, one of the oddities, I guess, of Overwatch, is we can get draws at times. So we get a draw in this series. So we will see a 6th map in this one. I'd assume the map is like randomly kind of just
Randomly generated? Spin a wheel?
So, yeah, why not? I assume.
Can I do it?
I assume we get a control. That would probably be the most sense, but we'll see. I think that's fun. I mean, this was just a drubbing here. I feel like on Junkertown. I mean, this is just a blowout.
It is odd. I mean, it's been a slugfest, though. If you look at the series as a whole, Junkertown just looked pretty darn poor. Look for SSG. I'm trying to think back. I don't know if this is like an amazing map for them in the past, if I can think of it. I don't think they're picking it habitually, especially into a team like VP, who in the past have played like Wrecking Ball on this map. They've kind of played like a bunch of different styles. Like Rajaro's shown that flexibility there for sure. So yeah, in theory, it'll be a control map. Now, we like what we saw from SSG there. They looked pretty confident. They are the ones that came out on their Diva comp against the Ramatra of Rajaro. Here's that first pick. Bam. Tough for Juno. She can skip around a whole bunch, but yeah, she's a little floaty. I think Spiker kills a Tracer here. Yeah, that's really nice. And he got off the Widow. Played the Tracer on the attack side.
I was surprised he got off of it so fast. I felt like it was like a single spawn, right? And then just like went away. Because I mean, you see some of the highlights, right? Obviously coming up with some big plays, some nice shots on the Widow.
Absolutely. Sauna here, more than happy to play the Tracer. Oh, was on Widow for a bit on that defense side. Managed to gain some traction pretty nicely here. And you can see just this dive just wasn't quite coming
as far
together.
as they got.
Yeah, and I think we're starting to see some of the woes that Spaecstation suffered, in that previous meta without Juno, when, Diva against the Anna Brig comp was concerned. I just feel like Virtus.pro seem a little bit more comfortable in this style. I mean, they 3-0'd them in that lower bracket game, so that kind of speaks for itself here. But Gala also, it's very, very hard to run away with low HP now because those torpedoes tend to seek you out. So if Gala has decent time, and he does this on 2 separate occasions, catching players out in these defense side fights and, saving those for an opportune moment to secure a kill. And I think we haven't really talked about it, right? But now, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is live. So we are talking about wave respawns in the game.
Yeah.
Something we didn't deal with in OWCS Stage 3. So in theory, it should be a little bit easier to come back off that respawn. At least you can come back together and it halts the risk of staggers.
Depending, I think we did have it in Stage 3 towards the end, but I don't think it's made like a substantial difference in terms of like what we're seeing, like in terms of play. I think it's been pretty non-impactful. I think if anything, it's probably changed like the public game a little bit more in terms of players just dying at all different times now come back together, trying to force more team play, where I know a lot of our teams are just obviously just doing that naturally, right? So
that's true. You hardly see the difference. That's a great point. All right, we are going to go to break, folks. Map number 6 in the series is just around the corner, and the winner, of course, will advance in this upper bracket. Spaecstation Gaming versus Virtus.pro. It comes down to one deciding map after this. Welcome back, folks, here to what promises to be the decider map in this banger of a series between Virtus.pro and Spaecstation Gaming. They always seem to deliver in just this way. Obviously, things are a little bit different. The meta has changed, and we have elements of the old style of these teams mixed in now with that high impact that Juno brings to the table. Insane healing, of course, and the damage boost available to you with that ultimate is very, very potent. We've seen both teams, I would say, abuse it as maliciously as humanly possible.
Yeah, no, they have definitely done that to great effect in this series thus far. So we will head to a final map, like you mentioned. No way to draw here. So we will get a winner here on this map, and it'll be Nepal to close things out.
And what we saw earlier on was, with control map, of course, was Lijiang Tower at the start of the series, where we saw Spaecstation Gaming want to play the Diva into the Ramatra. This time, though, we might actually see a mirrored situation there. Backbone, of course, has been in for the whole series and has really delivered when it's counted. He'll be on the Venture. And here we come.
Yeah, as they want to play Ramatra here, so something we haven't seen Spaecstation do the entire series. And with it, Ramatra, you'll also end up playing a Venture. I like this switch though. They go back to the spawn VP and they'll play that far, right? That's been putting a lot of pressure on some of these comps.
Yeah, and there's not a lot of ways for Spaecstation to really interact with it. They do at least have Sparker. Backbone with the melee, knew the Diva was about to come around the corner. That empowered melee the Venture offers is pretty scary. And it's Landon getting picked off first. How many times have I said that today? It's tough. He is the object of focus for Virtus.pro, and they're doing a very good job of carving off the Brig. Backbone here doesn't have the option to submerge. It was a second away from that cooldown, so in 2 or 4 on the point.
Yes, the Pharah could be pretty difficult to deal with, right? As you're trying to kind of like brawl out when all these rockets are coming down. You just kind of have to like kite and kite constantly. But at least right now, it seems like they're not able to follow up on any of the damage that Sauna's putting in.
I mean, Spaecstation come back to the fight pretty quickly, like you said. Just Sauna. Really setting things up with this Pharah poke here. Virtus.pro just can't make the connection, though. And Spaecstation never lost the point after all of that, even as things look like they'll be heading south. So they're back in control, and Backbone has... Yeah, okay, I like the Sombra pickup here. Very much a nuisance for the Diva to deal with.
It's just constant annoying for the Diva, right? Especially if the Diva wants to go in and try and finish off some of these kills that, the damage that Sauna's putting down.
A little direct hit there on Funny Astro by Sauna. Too far away to follow up on it, though, but there's opportunities here for big damage. It was going to be Backbone to fall first. The generous Rajaro with that first pick. Not landing this time, but still managing to cut Spaecstation down to 4 individuals. And there's a barrage available here for Sauna. Has to respect the vortex, though, as Hardy comes around swinging annihilation. Oh my goodness, the cojones on that man. Sauna goes down eventually, but Gala's able to trade out. Interesting use of that annihilation for Hardy. Probably not finding the value he was maybe looking for here. And it's a switch over to the Diva. That would explain that ult use a little frivolously.
Yeah, it definitely makes sense as you make the switch over to the Diva here towards the end, but this has been one where Spaecstation, I think they came out with a really good composition. I don't think VP figured out really what they wanted to do against it. Still don't really have an answer, right? As they lose Canal at the start. This is Spaecstation dominant.
It's wild. They've lost engagements, right? They've lost first picks, second picks, and they've still been able to hold the point this entire time. Pretty frightening if you're a fan of Virtus.pro here, because Spaecstation have been immovable objects. Virtus.pro, they are more than stoppable when it comes to the force they've applied. Bob there gets involved, gets the job done, and we are 1 round in. A successful full clear on Village.
Fast one as well, right? I mean, that is just one where Spaecstation just absolutely dominates. VP can't really make any type of play for the point. Feels like they had to change their comp up a little bit to try and make it interesting towards the end, but Spaecstation comes out first with a Ramatra and a Venture in the mix, then switching over and playing the Sombra and then a Diva in the end. So this would be a completely different look, right? I mean, Pharah Ramatra here with the Kiri in the mix, but see what they actually decide to do.
I mean, in theory, I get it. You're really hoping that Suzu can give you the edge or at least that window. They're gonna go for it. Again, Kiriko, she's had her headshot multiplier reduced from 2.5 to 2 times, but her base damage is up from I think 45 to 60 or something like that, so it hasn't really affected her too much, especially if she's hitting the headshots. You've got to have a pause here. Definitely got to have a pause here. This would be the time for it, for sure. Again, as Christopher's, I'm sure, relating to the side of Spaecstation, someone needs to leave the game to trigger an automatic pause. Yeah, it'll be volatile. Okay, so Backbone, his wireless mouse died. It's been a long series, so I kind of get it. He had to find a replacement or...
That's how you know it's been a long day, when your mouse battery is dead from playing so much.
Out of the course, though, is actually Rajaro on the wrong end of a torpedo. Not where I'd like to be. Canal is going to be lucky to get out of that. Yeah, chased down entirely, found himself face to face with Ramatra himself.
Yes, once the point opens up, this will be Spaecstation's to take, as this final map, it's really not indicative of how close the series been thus far, as now that we've gone over to the Ramatra comp, Spaecstation is definitely turned up a bit.
Yeah, they looked very good in these early engagements. Virtus.pro here obviously on the Ramatra of their own now, but Hardy's going to be well ahead in terms of that ultimate charge. And hey, once again, Gala is first to the punch when it comes to developing that ultimate, but Astro will have a moment. Here comes the beam. Oh my goodness, Gala really wants to push this fight up. Yeah, I guess Rajaro can't really play within the effect of that ultimate just yet. He was ahead of it, but that's fine. He was able to find Sparker with that push up. Hardy has the first annihilation. Can he turn the fight around? There's not really many people to affect by this. And Sauna deals with backbone elsewhere. That is an ultimate thrown in the bin.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way you're going to be able to kind of like push across the bridge in that type of situation if you're Hardy and get like extreme value out of the annihilation. So, like you mentioned, it's kind of just thrown to the wayside. So both teams actually end up playing the carry here with the Juno, so it's a little bit of a different setup than what we've seen in the past. I want to see the Juno ultimate with a Kitsune Rush going on and just see, you know, everybody just go real fast. Here's the Juno ultimate from Funny Astro. It's kind of thrown out there. I don't really think you're going to get much out of it as that Bob from Sauna comes right on in through the backline.
I mean, you get plenty out of it in the sense that they have to back away. They did use the orbital ray and they can't really make use of it to send Hardy forward aggressively. But Funny Astro backs up, breaks line of sight. Bob chooses a new target. That's Hardy, and Hardy just gets healed up. So here's this annihilation. Virtus.pro bought enough time with their Bob to come back in, and Sparker gets swept along in the Maelstrom.
This is a good, if you're talking about getting value out of the annihilation, that's a good annihilation there. From Rajaro, just ends up pushing in straight on through. Spaecstation Gaming backing them into that corner as I did end up having the Kitsune Rush used there for both sides as Funny Astro gets caught on the exit there by Sauna's Dynamite. It looks like he actually just threw the Dynamite back towards the spawn and then connected with it, got a tick off. So we'll see now as the chat's on is like question mark, Funny Astro's just laughing. See if Spaecstation can kind of get back in. Make a play for this right side bridge. This is gonna be close. I mean, we're gonna be close to final fight with how long and drawn out they are.
Okay, decent wall, but they're gonna be contending, yeah, with Gala's ultimate here. Orbital ray. Okay, Gala gets a Susie from Canale and is actually just able to walk away from the main, from the Blizzard in general. So that's perfectly shut down. And annihilation from Hardy again. Very average. He has to try and win the round, right? There's no other option. You don't have the chance to use that in an ideal scenario there. That's fine. Virtus.pro giving us maximum Overwatch. Have even things up here on Nepal. And we're going to a decider round on a decider map in a 6-map series.
Jeez, I mean, this one's gone literally as far as we can go. As I agree with Rajaro. What a banger of a game we have here on our hands.
Absolutely, Rajaro. Couldn't be more right. Couldn't be more right. He knows it. We know it. You'll know it at home. Imagine if Game 6 was Clash. I would wet the whistle.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yes. Always good to get a dose of our British humour here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Chris. Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, I wonder why they're not calling for the listen-ins.
Yeah,
Yeah,
how about that? We've canned those. They've gone conspicuously absent.
So it'll be a Ramantra versus Diva setup here for our final point here. And then with the Diva, you'll actually just play the Tracer. So a little bit more aggressive, right? You kind of maybe circumvent the Ramantra, try and go for Sparker and land it.
All right, playing coast here is Sparker. Early pressure down, wall thrown up to make it hard for Rajaro to get any charge value. Yeah, Canale still the Kiriko. Okay. This is the variation that Virtus.pro have for this map. It definitely helped them in that previous round, and having the Suzu with a pinch seems pretty nice. Does mean no Brig, no easy, whip shot value, but, well, Okay, a little bit vulnerable there, gets caught out by Sparker. Rajaro looks to be demexed now as Spaecstation do fancy playing Ramantra into this Diva.
Yeah, just trying to play a little bit of an off angle there for Canale, and just they just turn and burn him. I mean, he's dead instantly. Not even really an opportunity for him to like react and try and make a play. As the VP will play Ramantra here. They'll still keep the Kiri, so they'll keep the Kiriko here in play for VP. So really, it's like Rally versus Kitsune Rush. I mean, I can see why you'd want the Kiri here. I mean, the Suzu's always beneficial, right? Whether it be, for the slow or, the dynamite and whatnot. And always pretty good healing and damage output here from the Kiriko.
Absolutely. Yeah, and also that flank potential. Chain a couple of headshots together and you've just opened things up for yourself. Well, Kagala goes for the Ray here on the point itself, but Kanale again is the first casualty. Maybe, though, the Kiriko is just a little vulnerable, even with Swift Step. It seems like Spaecstation been able to exploit that a little bit more. Brig obviously has a shield. Throw that up in front of her and just have maybe that extra survivability. It's a big difference maker. And, oh, we're going upstairs, baby. Well, not all of us. Some of us are going upstairs.
Yeah. So maybe they think they're going to be able to like they're. Yeah, no. Well, I think they've spotted that they aren't coming high ground. I think they thought that they would probably venture to the high ground instead of taking the same route again, and they'd like wall them off and try and get like an annihilation going there. But I mean, dude, this is brutal for VP. I mean, you got nothing really to work with. This is gonna be rally from Landon here with the annihilation ready to go from Hottie.
All right, Canal gets off the Katsuna rush at the very least here, but the Ray comes out from Funny Astro. And yes, all of Spaecstation bask in it. And then no one's given him the edge that they need. Rajaro couldn't do a darn thing about it. No ultimate build-up. He's had a very quiet round in general. Sora never had a chance to get that bob away when it really mattered. Now, I can't believe we're ending this series that's been so close with a one-sided round. Spaecstation advancing the upper bracket, taking the series in a 6-map barn burner. This time, they get the better end of VP.
Yes, a back and forth series ends with a game of control that Spaecstation really they dominate 2 rounds and VP dominates the other one there. It kind of caps off the day for EMEA with a pretty sick match.
What year is it? I felt like this one just wouldn't end, which is great because we got treated to a lot of great Overwatch. I thought it was very interesting to just see this first look of SSG for us. We weren't sure what to expect after the struggles they had, of course, in OWCS. Now with Juno into the mix, how will they adapt? What will they play? Seeing them on that Juno and on that Diva, I'm kind of sold on that Hadi Diva now. We criticized him a lot for that in the past. I felt like this generally was a good look for them. Obviously, having Backbone on May, that's always a good look for SSG. So there's that.
Yeah, we came into the game being like, oh, Hardy's not really known for the Stever. And I think back and I'm like, well, they've been workshopping this so hard, like through the last stage. And obviously, like, stage 3 OWCS, not the best one for SSG. Definitely are some struggles, but they make a deep run anyway. And they are sticking to Diva while, trying to work it in. Obviously, plenty of Winston in their comps. So they're clearly still working on it. And I definitely think it's good enough. I also think when they can sort of just pull out the Ramatra variation of this comp, play a bit more brawly like we just saw on Nepal, I think this team is well-rounded enough to be a real threat. For me, the question is, okay, so they've got this down, but what about ENCE? Because that is the team that everyone should be terrified of, at least it was in the previous meta. Have they adapted as smoothly to this one? Because they had a pretty tight game in their upper semi too. That one went to 5 also.
I mean, you also go up against the Diva himself, right, in Vistola. So I wouldn't want to take that mirror against ENCE, who looked so confident on those kind of compositions. Question is also, of course, with the Diva nerfs coming in, do you continue focusing on Diva, or do you have to shift away already?
I don't think you're probably worried about those until they actually kind of come in. I think it's like mid-season, which could be soon, right? But I think both teams and a lot of the teams have shown like just play Ramatra in certain situations, right? Like Diva's nerfed to the point that like is not very good. I think you'd probably see similar compositions just with the Ramatra, in the mix. Maybe you see similar things like another tank, like maybe it's just Sigma or something like that. In the flow of things, but I think this style with like the Juno and whether it be Juno Brig, Juno Ana, I think it's definitely something that teams are going to continue to roll with.
I love the different looks we're seeing with those backlines as well, since at this point, as you said, we've seen Juno Ana being busted out, Juno Brig seemed to be the standard. Now we also get to see Juno Kiriko. What are the thoughts on that?
Not good. Very exploitable, I think. That's the problem for Canale there. I think quite a few times getting caught out at the start of the fights. You as that like non-Juno supporter already, you have a target on your back at the start of the fights. Ask Landon, who is like the first pick in every fight that VP do well in, right? And as Kiriko, like you do have the ability to reposition with Swift Step, but you're vulnerable. You can just get picked off. If you're against Ashe and Mei, for example, who like have huge amounts of burst damage they can leverage, it's going to be tough. I love this player of the match decision so much. I love this so much.
Yeah.
We're catering. We know what the audience wants, and the audience wants more Funny Astro. Honestly, if you don't have Funny Astro in your lineup, then you already lost. It doesn't matter.
And I think he played quite well on the Juno. I also think it's awesome for Spaecstation that I know another hero enters the game, enters the meta. That funny Astro can pick up Pilot, and the hero kind of fits exactly how he likes to play, right? Wants to play aggressive, wants to play fast, right? And I think Juno, and also offensive, more offensive focus, and Juno fits right in.
Yeah, 100%. She's also punishable, so like you have to really have a strong awareness of your surroundings here, right? Funny Astro is definitely, I think, getting a lot out of Juno's kit here, and just showing us just how impactful she can be at the right moments. I think there was one moment on Tsuruvasa where I think he gets chastised for like overspending ultimates, but I don't think in general.
Adi was mad.